Good evening. This is Tom Mackin. This is the Perrysburg City Council for February 16th, 2021. Will the clerk, Dave Krebs, please call the roll?
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Coolman.
Here.
Ms. Materney. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Van Hoosen. Here. Mr. Weber.
Here. If you are attending by telephone or if you're just listening in, would you please make sure that you're on mute or so that we can't hear any background noises. Thank you very much. Minutes of the council meeting of February 2nd, 2021.
I believe everyone has received a copy of the minutes of the council meeting from February 2nd. I don't believe that I haven't heard any objections on that. I will assume that we will, shouldn't say assume, but without any objections, I would move that we pass the council meeting minutes as written and dispense with the readings.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have no special reports. There's no letters of communication or citizen concerns that we're aware of. For administrative reports, I do have, I am going to recommend, if I can find the sheet of paper that I just gave you. Oh, John Meyer for the Historic Landmarks Commission. And at the end of my report, council can do it at President Council or at the end. I would like to give a shout out to all the street division crews that were out diligently starting yesterday and going all the way through the evening to make sure the roads were plowed. There was, as everyone knows, a lot to plow and move, and they really did a really good job. And I received a number of communication from residents, thankful for their hard work and dedication and appreciative of that. So I want to also recognize that, and I'm sure everyone on council does as well. And also to the leadership of the division, Rob Ross and others, and put a plan in place to address the issue, and we're ready and executed it. So I want to give them some recognition as well. Not a glamorous task, but one that's critical to the city functioning, enable people being able to go to work. And unfortunately, maybe they would clean enough so people can go to school tomorrow if you have children. Some people might not be happy, but so that's the end of my report. President Council, do you want to take that action now or when your report?
Let's wait till you get to my report.
All right, very good. City Administrator has no report. Finance Director?
I have no report other than to call attention to the budget that was distributed last week and let everybody know if they have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a call.
Thank you. Or if you, especially if you have questions or if you have any items that you think should be addressed or included so we can get the discussion going on those items, if any. Law Director? Thank you very much. President of Council?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would also like to echo your sentiment and thank our public service staff for all their hard work and sacrifice over the last 2 days in the cleaning of our city streets, especially with, I think they've said on W2L, the 5th largest storm in the known history of the city. So I was really appreciative for all the hard work and cleaning so quickly that this afternoon I was able to get my poochkies. So that's the most important part. With that, I would also like to make a motion to appoint John Meyer to the Historic Landmarks Commission. It was just recommended 3-0 by the Plan Review Committee.
Roll call?
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Thank you.
That is the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Committee reports, Finance and Economic Development.
Thank you, Your Honor. Finance and Economic Development Committee met on February 9th. Meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. by Chairman Mark Weber. Committee members present were Deborah Bourne, Tim McCarthy, and myself. Also present were Bridget Cabot, City Administrator, Kate Sandretto, Law Director, Dave Krebs, Finance Director, Amber Rathburn, Deputy Finance Director, and Steve Bronder, Income Tax Commissioner. The approval of minutes. Ms. Bourne stated that the minutes were already approved at city council meetings. Ms. Andretto stated that what was given at the city council meeting was a report of the meeting. So with no further objections, the minutes of the December 8th, 2020 committee meeting were approved. The finance director's report, the committee reviewed expenditures over $5,000 for the month of January. There were questions regarding payments for the credit card bill, the comprehensive plan, saving on Stonecroft, speed signs, and tax software. All questions were answered by the administration. Mr. Krebs reported that the balance in the Health and Welfare Fund as of January 31st was $83,722.47. He said the balance was up a little at the end of the month, and we just received a $74,000 reimbursement that will get added to that balance. Mr. Krebs explained how the rates are calculated each year. 2021 amended budget, the proposed amended budget was distributed to the committee, and Ms. Cabot explained which items were carryovers from the 2020 budget and which items are new items. She reviewed the large dollar items that were carried over and those that were added in the budget amendment. She encouraged the committee to email her if there are any questions, and I believe we'll be having our first reading on that. I'll introduce that for the first reading tonight. The tax commissioner's report. Mr. Bronder reported that the income tax collections for the month of January were a little over $1.9 million, which is flat compared to the January of 2020. He said that he is anticipating that we will still see some lingering effects from the pandemic in this year's tax collections. Mr. Bronder explained that because the due dates were changed last year, the comparison from this year to last year may be skewed. He added that unemployment payments are not taxable at the local level. Mr. Bronder requested approval of two ordinances that reflect changes to Chapter 891 of the codified ordinances. He said that they are basically housekeeping items that update the city code to be consistent with the Ohio Revised Code. He said that one ordinance amends our definition of pensions. Paragraph A was in place prior to the state's definition, and paragraph B adds the state language. And then the second ordinance adds a definition for retirement benefits to mirror the state language. So myself and Mr. McCarthy both said it was that the ordinances looked pretty straightforward, and the committee agreed 3-0 to recommend approval. So there being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 6:05 p.m. And I will have pieces of legislation, those housekeeping items. There's pretty much a definition changes, and if there's not any objections, I would like to introduce those two together. Okay, so I would like to introduce ordinances 6 and 7, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for their reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 6, 2021, amending codified ordinance section 891.03, paragraph 28 of the City of Perrysburg Business Regulation and Tax Code. And ordinance number 7, 2021, amending codified ordinance section 891.03 of the City of Perrysburg Business Regulation and Tax Code by adding subsection 51.
I move that ordinances 6 and 7, 2021 be passed.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Oh, and Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
I almost missed it. Thank you.
All right, and then I would like to introduce ordinance 8, 2021, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its first reading by number and title only.
Second. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ordinance number 8, 2021, amending ordinance number 22, 2020, to amend appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the year beginning January 1, 2021, and ending December 31, 2021, and declaring an emergency.
All right.
And our next meeting, Mr. Mayor, will be Tuesday, March 9th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. And that.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
So good.
Old hat. All right, Safety Committee?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report. This is Barry Van Hoosen, Chairman of Safety Committee. Mr. Mayor, I do not have a report. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m.
Thank you. I'm just looking, they gave me a cheat sheet and they have recreation next, but on our agenda it says planning and zoning, so we'll do planning and zoning next.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is Tim McCarthy, Chair of the Planning and Zoning Committee. We met on February 10, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Present were myself, Corey Coleman, and Barry Van Hoosen. Also present were Law Director Kate Sandretto, Planning and Zoning Administrator Brody Walters, and Deputy Planning and Zoning Administrator Mark Newton. We'll kind of give a Reader's Digest version of these. The minutes of the prior of the January meeting were approved. We did vote to recommend John Meyer to landmarks. Council has already done. We reviewed the Rotary Park special approval use that was the subject of a public hearing last time council met. With the committee voted to recommend approval. We noted a few things on the plans, features that we just had questions about that we're going to go ahead and get cleaned up. Substantive goals. The inclusive park itself, we have a pretty detailed depiction what's in there. I mean, down to exact pieces of equipment. That's not. Brody clarified for us that that's not. Absolutely, they got to build each and every piece of equipment noted in their plan. It would only need to come back for review if there was some substantial change in the way the inclusive park will work. So that will come to you later as Ordinance 9, 2021. We talked about swimming pools for a few months now. We had referred to the Planning Commission the possibility of decreasing the setback, the side yard setback. That was an issue for a couple of pool owners. The Planning Commission didn't feel a change should be made, and I think the committee more or less agreed that might not be the way to go. One of the property owners who had an above ground pool has basically said that, okay, we'll comply if nothing's going to change. The other person has an in-ground pool that originally was in a location that did comply and meet the setback requirements, but then that location changed, we believe, in large part due to contractor doing so, unfortunately for the home. We talked about with Brody and Mark several ways, and I'm sure those will be implemented. I think as well as for the council. We didn't have any resolution for the folks with the in-ground pool, but Corey Coleman and Kate were going to meet and see if they could maybe noodle a way to help with that situation. We returned to the arborvitae discussion again, which is several topic. The Planning Commission again did not recommend any changes to the code regarding what we are now calling living screens. We had a citizen present whose son lives in the city. He has a home with a pool. His young daughters would like to have a living fence for their privacy. This lady, Lisa Cook, I should say, the Master Gardener affiliated with Ohio State, and she argued a living fence is good for the environment, good for erosion control, good for wildlife. And she asked the committee to reconsider the ordinance. Kevin Ranton is present again. He's been present before to make that same request. We then talked about the regulation itself, and Brody Walters claimed that he recalled came about because people streets when they couldn't build a fence. So they'd be told, okay, can't have a fence, so now it's a hedge fund. I commented that I'm not sure I understand the public purpose of this, as I don't really see a purpose for having restrictions on the height of hedges on the boundaries of property. Corey Coleman pointed out he feels this is a rule that's more appropriate for a homeowners association restriction. And he really doesn't understand it either. Barry Van Hoosen said that he would like to understand the history behind this before he brushes to any judgments. I agree, and I'm sure Corey did as well, that it would behoove us to take a look at the history. It's helpful to know more about when the change was made to limit the height of living screens, and what problem the city was trying to solve. And Brody will look through their department's records and figure out whatever he finds on that subject. Then adjourned at 7:21. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 10, which may or may not be the day we meet. Sherry's out of town that day, so I'll get with Brody and figure out if we're going to go forward that night, possibly reschedule. And with that, I'd like to introduce ordinance 9-2021. Move the total be suspended for authorized reading by number and title only. Dispense with the second and third reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ordinance number 9, 2021, granting special approval use to Wood County Plays for the construction of an inclusive playground at Rotary Community Park and declaring an emergency.
I would then move that ordinance 9-2021 be passed as an emergency.
Second. Discussion.
I just have one thing I'd like to say. I am glad that this is moving forward. And this is Councilwoman Deborah Bourne.
Thank you. If you don't mind, Mayor, this is Jonathan Smith. Just as a reminder on the budget, from the conversation we had at the public hearing on this, that the city has to upgrade the parking lot, and we do have that is set aside as funding for the 2021 budget to hopefully move ahead and get that taken care of as well. So
That was in addition to the proposed amended budget, which is still before council. That came up with this council, and so administration being responsive to that need and request from council is put in budget.
Yeah,
it's greatly appreciated.
Glad to hear it's going to get done. End of report.
Thank you.
We need a roll call. We need a vote on the last.
We had discussion. That's what threw us.
That's what, yeah.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Ms. Materney.
Yes.
Mr. Coolman.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Recreation Committee.
Thank you. I have a report, and just a second here. Hang on, I'm reading this off the computer, so give me a couple of seconds. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Perrysburg City Council Recreation Committee meeting report for the regular meeting of February 9th, 2020. Present were Chairwoman Deborah Bourne, committee members Jonathan Smith and Jan Materney, City Administrator Bridget Cabot, and Law Director Catherine Sandretto. Chairwoman Bourne called the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. in Council Chambers. After the Pledge of Allegiance, citizen concerns were requested and none presented. Old business. No action on Riverside Park cannon stands. B, the inclusive playground. Mr. Smith asked if the revised master plan will be returning to this committee for review. Ms. Cabot responded that since it passed the Planning Commission, it will go to the next to the council's Planning and Zoning Committee. Chairwoman Bourne stated that she was glad to see the project moving forward. Mr. Smith agreed. No action on the splash pad. Ms. Materney asked for which park is a multi-purpose wall intended. Chairwoman Bourne responded that she had been told at the meeting last year by the wall's proposer, Damon Gores, of Perrysburg Lacrosse, that the wall is transportable and can be moved from park to park as needed. Chairwoman Bourne reported that the idea of the West Side handball court was previously proposed by longtime Perrysburg citizen Al Rava. He has plans for this project, and if she receives them by the next Recreation Committee meeting, she will share them at that time. F, Chairwoman Bourne asked for comment on the Unleashed Dog Park. Mr. Smith stated that he had not thoroughly reviewed the revised budget since he had just received it, but he remembered from a service committee meeting that a bucket truck was purchased for $30,000 less than the budget had expected, so this savings would be used for an Unleashed Dog Park. Chairwoman Bourne stated that she recalled that the ORC 955-11 requires that dogs on public property must be on a leash. She then asked for comment from the city administrator and law director on this topic. Ms. Cabot responded that she recalled that the section of the ORC to cover dog wardens and possibly cruelty to animals, but since she has not read it in 10 years, she will go back and review it. Chairwoman Bourne commented that currently dogs may be taken into any of our parks if they are leashed. Ms. Materney stated that she did not understand how these unleashed dog parks can be in compliance. Ms. Cabot and Ms. Sandretto agreed to look further into the matter. Ms. Sandretto stated that it would be desirable to check with our insurance providers also. Chairwoman Bourne stated that she had read an incident in New York City where people with big dogs allowed them to harm or kill other people's small dogs. She also stated the dog virus parvovirus, which can be spread in such parks. This was a major problem in recent years. A positive outcome would be the opportunity for owners to socialize, but there are cons and legalities which need to be reviewed, and she repeated her request for the administrator and law director to do this. Mr. Smith stated that the intent would be to have separate areas for large and small dogs. Chairwoman Bourne responded that the problem in New York and Chicago was the fact that these rules have been poorly enforced and many dog owners ignored them. Mr. Smith suggested putting up signs to define the two areas, and he added that he believes an Unleashed Dog Park would be a benefit to the community. Chairwoman Bourne asked Mr. Smith where he proposed putting the park. Mr. Smith replied that he had previously proposed several locations, but at the end of the day, he felt that we need to work with the administration and follow their direction. Chairwoman Bourne stated that she had recalled that the Bicentennial Park had been considered. She said that she had once lived in the neighborhood, and she recalled that the residents of the neighborhood were opposed to a lot of activity in the area. If we do decide to have this dog park, the best location would be Rotary Park or the park across the street. Mr. Smith claimed that he had lived in that neighborhood since 2011, and if his neighbors complain, he's willing to take the hit. Ms. Materney stated that she thinks Bicentennial Park is underutilized. Ms. Cabot mentioned a number of athletic groups who use it at one time or another throughout the year. Ms. Bourne read a list of thoughts and concerns from staff regarding a dog park on city-owned property, which she believes need to be answered if this project is to go further. These were obtained from Ms. Cabot. The list is attached to this report as a separate document. Mr. Smith asked Ms. Bourne to email to the committee the list so that she had read. Ms. Bourne agreed to do so. Under new business, Ms. Materney stated that there was no item on the agenda requesting approval of committee minutes, by which she meant the report on the meeting written by city staff. She made a motion to approve the document, which was seconded by Mr. Smith. Therein ensued a lengthy discussion, which included the law director of the necessity and legality of the action. The law director claimed that because the rules of council designate a committee chair's report as the personal responsibility of the chairman, that these are not legitimate minutes because they cannot be amended at the committee level. She claimed that the ORC requires that the reports must be subject to amendment by other committee members if so desired, or they are not officially minutes. She also claimed that the policy of not accepting admittance to the committee chair's reports was a personal decision on the part of Chairwoman Bourne and not a mandate for all council committees from Section 220.5 of the City Code. Chairwoman Bourne asked why her reports have not been placed on the city website. No answer was given. Discussion concluded. Chairwoman Bourne called the question, and the committee voted 2-0 to approve the administration report as written per Robert's Rules of Order. The chair cannot vote unless there is a tie. Under the PrAC report, no report because PrAC has not met. Their first meeting of the year will be in April. Ms. Materney said that she has heard that there is an opening on PrAC. Chairwoman Bourne said she had not heard this and thanked Ms. Materney for her thought. Mr. Smith announced that he was planning to attend a Sunshine Law webinar the following morning. The law director stated that she believes that all council people need Sunshine Law training and encouraged them to attend. Chairwoman Bourne reported that she had called the Ohio Attorney General's office and learned that elected officials need to attend a training session only once during each term they are in office, and she had done so in 2019. The meeting adjourned at 7:02 p.m. The next regular meeting will be March 9th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Report submitted by Deborah L. Bourne, Chairwoman, February 15th, 2021. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. No,
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, real quick.
hold on. There's no legislation, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to make a point of clarification. Although much of the report is accurate, there is one glaring misrepresentation of the discussions mentioned that is not a reflection of what occurred. The report attempted to clarify and change another committee member's comments in the report, along with changing the motion that the committee member made. The 2-0 vote was on the committee meeting minutes. The vote was not to approve the administration's report. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would like to also add that,
And you are who?
I'm sorry. This is Councilwoman Materney. I'd also like to add that I too dispute her report as written because she paraphrased my statements in such a way that it altered or deformed the meaning.
All right, very good.
Okay, I would state as chairwoman of the committee that I have the meetings taped, and I do watch the meetings and what people have to say. And if anybody doesn't agree, well, I'm sorry they don't, but that's what happened at the meeting. So
The motion was completely changed. Got it. Thanks.
Okay.
I could not vote because of Robert's Rules of Order, as I recall telling all of you.
Okay. We're not going to get into debate about the contents of the meeting.
I'm glad because I think we have other issues that we on council need to be talking about, and this is very petty.
Well, that's fine. Thank you very much. Everybody has had a chance to be heard and voice their concerns and raise any changes they would like to or believe are accurate. So moving forward, thank you everyone. Personnel Committee.
Yeah, this is Councilman Kuhlman. We had our meeting tonight, and I'll try to give a brief report because we do have legislation in front of the council. We met today at 5:30 p.m. in these chambers. Minutes were approved. I should say present were Mark Weber and Tim McCarthy, along with Case Andretto, Police Chief Pat. I think it's last name. Pat Jones. Thank you. The first item we discussed were what the legislation is about this evening. Basically, there are 6 ordinances that are housekeeping that are now covered under our various collective bargaining agreements or handbook provisions. So those will be in front of council. There was also some other business discussed about potentially implementing some sort of surveys at the committee level to make sure we're making decisions that our citizens give us some insight on some of the important ones, or more important ones, I should say. Then we adjourned into executive session to discuss the police collective bargaining agreements. We then adjourned and came back and recommended that legislation be prepared for council to and recommended to approve that collective bargaining agreement or those collective bargaining agreements. And then the meeting was adjourned. So with that, I have several items of legislation tonight. So I would like to introduce ordinance 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by title and number only and to dispense with the second and third reading.
Second.
Roll call. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 10, 2021, amending codified ordinance section 266.03-1 of the City of Perrysburg Personnel Code. Ordinance number 11, 2021, repealing codified ordinance section 266.03-2 of the City of Perrysburg Personnel Code, previously enacted by ordinance number 10591, passed on November 5th, 1991. Ordinance number 12, 2021, repealing codified ordinance section 266.03-3 of the City of Perrysburg Personnel Code, previously enacted by ordinance number 105-91 and passed on November 5th, 1991. Ordinance number 13, 2021, amending codified ordinance section 266.03-4 of the City of Perrysburg Personnel Code. Ordinance number 14, 2021, amending codified ordinance section 266.03-6 of the City of Perrysburg Personnel Code. And ordinance number 15, 2021, amending codified ordinance section 266.09-1 of the City of Perrysburg Personnel Code, last amended by ordinance number 2, 2020 on February 14, 2020.
Discussion. You can move to 10.
Oh, good. Yeah. I move that ordinance 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 of 2021 be passed.
Second?
Discussion. Hearing none. Move to passage.
We moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Materney,
Yes.
Mr. Coolman,
Yes.
Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Thank you.
That concludes my report. I believe the next personnel committee will be March 23rd at 5 p.m.
Thank you. Public utilities?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no report here this evening. Our next scheduled meeting is on February 24th, which is a Wednesday at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you. Service?
I have no report. My next meeting is February 24th at 5:30.
Any other business to come before this council?
Jonathan Smith will make a motion to adjourn.
Any objection? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.